Hey guys, Joe East again here. We're going to continue to dig into the coronavirus issue. Today we're going to dive into the statistics and the numbers for the you mathematical guys, those of you who want hardcore data. I found the China report from the China Centers for Disease Control, and I went through it and analyzed their mathematical curves, or should I say the data curves, in light of mathematics. So if you were looking at some of my other videos, I mentioned something called a hockey stick. And in the material world, there are no hockey sticks because infinities really don't exist in the material world. So in the USA, you're still seeing something like a curve that's just going up, right? Without this section, right? But those of us who know physics, engineering, mathematics, the real world, you're going to reach an inflection point in the curve because the physical processes, as the phenomenon expands exponentially, it reaches its boundary conditions. And once it starts approaching the boundary conditions, it starts to slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down, and then it starts to retract. That's what happens with epidemics. So you're going to see inflection points here. So this is from the China report. So I kind of sort of started it at January 14th, and I kind of eyeballed the graph at certain data points and just put them up here. 18th, about 1,000, 1,500 at about January 20th. It started going really fast between the 21st to the 23rd. Actually, the 20th to the 23rd. It started curving up really fast. And then inflection points started turning the other way between January 23rd to the 24th. I'm going to put show notes inside the links here so you guys can go check it out, those of you data nuts who want to go check it out. And then it flattened out between roughly the 24th and the 28th. It flattened out, then it started dive bombing on the other side. And pretty much the epidemic was over with the middle of February. So you can extrapolate this line going back mid to end of February. It was pretty much over in China, other than straggler cases. So the best of my understanding is these numbers here are number of newly discovered cases per day, is the way I understand it. And that's what makes sense. And I did the cumulative spreadsheet stuff, and it kind of made sense that you did the cumulative of all this stuff, and it kind of sort of added up to, I think it was 72,000 at the time of the publication of this report. Today, as of today, it was about 81,000. So on the same order of magnitude, but just with added stragglers after the end of the report. China's such a big country. So don't believe the hysteria about, oh my God, we're all going to die. So I'm going to go, let's see. So what you're seeing in the USA now, at this point in time, is probably the final phases of the upswing on the curve. And so you're going to really quick, in about 3 or 4 days, see a flattening, or if we don't have all the data, the flattening already happened maybe a week ago or so. When you see the cases spiking in numbers, it's only going to last for a few days, and then it's going to top off, and then it's going to dive bomb again on the other side, and then it's going to go away, because that's the nature of epidemics. Those of you who are mathematical, it's a diffusion equation, or a osmosis equation. So that's kind of what we're seeing now. And the error that the American estimators made a mathematical error, and I'm going to show you what their mathematical error was. I need to erase this, so let me photograph this, and then I'll show you what the error was for the American estimators. Now we have a different board. I wiped it off. Okay, so the error in calculations that the American calculators made was they assumed that the death rate per infections was going to be between 1 and 2%. These are round numbers, these are not exact, but essentially about 1 to 2%, with an infection penetration estimation of about 40%. Again, these are round numbers. Nobody can really make very hardcore predictions with a swing of less than probably 50% or whatever. So with a 1% death rate, you're going to get 1 million deaths with these numbers, and a death rate of 2%, you're going to get about 2 million deaths, assuming all these numbers here. So that's probably where the wild and crazy numbers came from for the hysteria. But there's no reason to believe the hysteria based on the China report. In the worst case, as far as penetration of the population, is Italy at this point that I can tell. Let me double check the stats here, but I think it's Italy. Yeah, Italy's the worst. 8.298% according to their numbers reported in. So if we do as bad as China, I ran the numbers based on that. So if you want to check my numbers, take the China death rate and the China infection rate and divide it, multiply it times the proportion of the population of the USA, and then run the numbers that way. So I'm going to use that core calculation of the China total deaths and the China total infections and kind of roughly massage the data a little bit. I did a bunch of spreadsheet analysis for an hour or 2 hours and massage the data, and I'm going to go ahead and put my balls on the line here, I guess. I'm going to predict the total infections for the USA is going to be between 19,000 and 28,000, and the deaths between 700 and 1,200. This is just for coronavirus based on the Chinese report, which is a very well-written report. I'm not sure why the media is going after China right now, because their report was very well written. I was quite surprised at the technical precision and the organization of the report, written in very good English too, for everybody to read. And these two numbers I predicted is based on the baseline of the numbers out of China based on their report, adding in a couple of massage numbers in there because it's been a few weeks since that report came out. So I kind of massaged the numbers a little bit there. Added a factor of 1.5 to the data on the high side, and just took the base numbers on the low side for those of you who want to run these numbers. Check my numbers or whatever. So yeah, I think we're on the sharp edge of the curve, or maybe right after, because of the lag in data reporting. So look for the flattening of that curve on the number of cases, number of new cases reported in. So we should be flattening the curve either real soon, or maybe we're right in the middle of the flattening of the curve and we just don't know. So take note of this video and see how good I am after all this stuff's over with. Do you think it's worth shutting the country down for something like this, if this all pans out, even if I'm off by, a factor of 2? And that would put these numbers at, I don't know, 55,000 infections versus 2,400 deaths, even if, you put the factor of 2 on the base numbers. Do you think is worth shutting the whole country down for? Probably not. So lawyers, tune up your lawsuits. Again, the reasoning with this, and you can actually get some mathematical PhDs into this to double check my numbers. I mean, these are round numbers. I got hardcore Excel spreadsheets I developed to base these general numbers on, so I don't confuse non-mathematical people here, or those who know a little bit about math but don't want to get into, say, calculus or weird projections or exponential functions and all that inflection stuff. So, take note of this, and we'll see, say, in a couple of months, if these numbers pan out. But as far as I can tell, based on the China report and the statistics we got coming in from all over the world, this stuff is it's actually not as bad as a normal flu, because a normal flu, the death rate is typically in tens of thousands, and this corona appears like the death rate won't even approach 10,000, maybe 5, if that. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed running through the numbers. My brain's a little bit worn out now, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, and we'll talk to you guys later on. Be safe out there. Don't give in to the fear. It's all going to be good. Take care. Till next time. Bye.